In yearbooks, senior year especially, in the back of the yearbook, classmates make predictions as to what their peers are going to do with the rest of their lives. As far as what jobs they'll have, and they make predictions. And I don't know if our class did that at Buena Vista High School, BVHS, but I'll have to track down my 2004 yearbook and see if we made those predictions. I don't remember it exactly, but maybe your high school did that. And if your high school did that and it came true for you, let us know in the that would be amazing. Okay, this person is definitely going to be a physicist, or this person is definitely going to start a nonprofit, or this person is going to become a doctor, or whatever the case may be. So that would be interesting, and we're talking about this today because I get the emails, and mostly emails because it's really detailed questions from not really middle schoolers, but mostly high schoolers and college students emailing me probably not even once a month, maybe 8 times a year. Well, they'll just ask me Seth, how did you arrive at this stage of your life? And it connects to these 3 books I'm holding in my hand. And actually, that's the question of the day. And you don't have to answer. You can keep it broad if you would like to, but what's your job? What's your career? What do you do for work? And was there one book, or maybe if you want to share 3 books, that's what I'm going to do today, that guided you to your job, to your career, to your work, to your passion, whatever you're doing out there in the world? I'm intrigued. This is going to be a good discussion today down in the comments, because first of all, I graduated in 2004 from high school, and so if somebody would have predicted in the back of the yearbook, Seth DeMoor is going to become a YouTuber. YouTube, I think, launched in 2004. And remember, it's the elephant video at the zoo. That was the first. The founders of YouTube went to the zoo, I don't know, probably in the San Francisco area, and filmed an elephant. And it's an 8-second video, I do believe. I think it's still on YouTube. You can go watch it. And but anyway, I don't think that prediction would not have even been possible because YouTube basically didn't even exist at that point. And I don't consider myself a YouTuber, even though I'm often put into that category. So I have some thoughts, and I've written down a few notes here just to keep me on track. I heard recently that youngsters out there, young people, one of the most sought after or dreamt about careers or jobs, not 1 in 3, but I've seen it in different articles in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 months, and that they want to become YouTubers, or I guess you could say influencers. And it's hard. It's a very, very challenging proposition to get to this point of, I'll just say, financial freedom, what I said in the title of the video, financial freedom and running freedom in my life. It's taken years, all right? It just does not have. Now, for some people it does. There are some influencers, some YouTubers, whatever you want, a category you want to put them into, that they are an overnight success. But 99% of people that work on YouTube, do YouTube, make videos, it's the long haul. And I just have to say that, again, these books I'm going to talk about here in a second led me, helped guide me to this point where I do have the freedom to, today, I woke up very early, answered emails, did some work with the store, with shipping, and then I went for a run at, about 9 o'clock-ish, maybe 9:30, because it warmed up a little bit, so I didn't have to run at, let's say, 6 a.m. I said, you know what, I'm going to let it warm up a little bit, and I'm going to go run when I want to at 9 a.m. And for the teachers, doctors, folks out there who, have a more traditional job, let's say, the 9 to 5, but they've also worked incredibly hard. Maybe they work 3 days a week, like nurses, and so they have 4 days off a week. And I just share this with the youngsters out there. If you have a passion for running, But you're wondering, like, how am I going to train at a high level? How am I going to train for 100-mile races? How am I going to create freedom in my life? You got to think ahead. You got to think, because there's only 24 hours in a day. That's the hard reality of being a human being, is you got to sleep, especially us runners, and you got to really be strategic in the decisions you make. You know, and I'm talking everybody, but especially youngsters out there, people that are, you know, in high school, in college, and you want the freedom to live the life on your terms. Think ahead, like, what classes do I need to take right now? What field of study do I want to go into that will give me the, you know, let's say that's a good question, the 20 hours a week or 15 hours a week to do what I want to do, whether it's on the weekend and maybe it's a 3 or 4 day weekend. Maybe it's, you know, you don't have to go into work until 10 or 11 a.m., but you still get off of work at 5 to 6 p.m. roughly. There's just different ways to be strategic in the modern world, especially with all the technology to create different revenue streams in your life that will give you the freedom to be a runner. Because guess what? Running takes time. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to really be dedicated to your training in order to hit certain goals, whether it's a Boston qualifier. Shout out to all the Boston Marathon runners coming up here in a couple weeks. And so for me, 7 years ago, okay, we're in 2023. Yeah, it was like 26. It was actually April 11th, 2016. All right, I believe that's the right date, where I uploaded the first daily video on YouTube. April 11th, 2016, okay? So we're 7 years on, okay? Again, it just doesn't happen with a snap of the finger. But I knew if I stayed dedicated and I had passion around the topic of running, that eventually these videos would end up in your lap and in the laps of runners around the world. And so, oh man, I just had to collect my thoughts for a second. I have many thoughts going through my head. Running freedom and then financial freedom. I'm telling you, okay, maybe this is a little bit of a controversial topic, I don't know. Bridget doesn't work, all right? She takes care of the kiddos. It's amazing, like, if you're afraid, I think a lot of I'm going to say sad, but a lot of people are afraid to have kids in the modern world because they think kids are expensive, or they think kids are going to, you know, take away their freedom, or I don't know what's going through people's minds. But I'm just going to share, like, Bridget doesn't work. We're a one income family, all right? Because of YouTube, I'm just going to say, this right here, what's behind me, uploading every day for 7 years, it's given me the freedom to run when I want, and the financial freedom to have a big family, to have a house that, well, you remember the old house, you remember the old studio in the shed. It's allowed this choice, and again, it connects to these books. We'll get to them in 1 second here, but it's given me the freedom to do what I want with my day. Now, but I just major warning sign. I'm going to probably put in a sound effect right now, like warning, warning, warning. It's been so hard to get to this point. That's why most people don't make it. Most people quit because you can't stop. You can't give up. You can't let off the gas. And now I'll be frank though, I don't work as hard as I used to with respect to, and I mean like the time, I don't work as hard. Like I'm telling you, those first 3 to 4 years on YouTube, I was bleeding, as one of the authors in this book, Gary, says, you got to bleed out of your eyeballs a little bit, meaning you're cutting into your sleep sometimes. And I just called myself out. Like, I wasn't sleeping as much as I should have been 4 years ago. And again, circling back to my passion of running, if you can turn your passion into your job, into your career, you're just going to be happier. Now, it's not possible for everyone, okay? It's just not. That's the hard part of life, is that life sometimes isn't fair. Sometimes you're not going to get what you want. Your passion, it's just not going to work out. You know, how many businesses fail in the first 3 years? It's definitely over 50%, but it's a high percentage of business, and that's people, and it's sad. But guess what? Life isn't fair, okay? And so for me, I'm slow in the sense of I knew coming out of college, as much as I was dreaming, I knew I wasn't going to sign a contract with any shoe company, okay? And guess what? That's a blessing. That's become a huge blessing. What is the turnover rate in the NFL? It's 2.5 to 3 years of football players who become NFL players. The average lifespan inside the NFL is 2.5 to 3 years, and then they're gone because it's the turnover and it's hard on the body. I would just be curious to see, you know, the amount of runners who sign a professional contract after college, and how many of them are still professional runners being paid. You know, it's like their job. They have, you know, hopefully health insurance, but they also have a salary where they don't have to have a second job. It's such a low percentage. And then, are they still doing it when they're 28, when they're 29, when they're 34, when they're 36? I'm 37. So what I mean by the fact that I'm a little slower, it forced me to get creative. Okay, again, this is where the books come in. It forced me to get creative, and that's with YouTube, with social media, with building my own career, not through signing a contract with, and I probably could have, I don't have an agent. I've never had an agent. I've never approached an agent. I don't quite know exactly how it works. Again, I'm not fast enough, but it's a blessing because it forced me to build my own thing here on YouTube. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. And again, I'm just giving some real talk here to everybody, but also the youngsters who might have dreams of becoming a YouTuber or becoming a professional runner. Like, it's not easy. It just doesn't happen. So, but, I want to encourage you to be open to freedom. How do because the joy that it brings me to be in charge. Now, high responsibility, okay? 5 kids, high responsibility, but high freedom at the same time, okay? Meaning, I can't just kick back. Like, as fun as it looks here on YouTube, it's like, you gotta stay focused or else you're just not gonna make it, all right? So, real talk here today. I think that's about all I wanted to cover until the book. So here we go. I'm gonna circle back, but of Beatles and Angels, it's the first book. His last name is very difficult to say, but Maui Asgudum. Okay, I read this book for the first time. My dad and mom gave me this book in 2001, and these books are simply my story. Like, they're not profound books. They're not like, strategery and strategic, like you're gonna be successful because of these books, but it's just little mustard seeds in my life that taught me, the power of work hard, okay? In fact, I would say, when I say seek beauty, work hard, there's a lot of different reasons I say these words at the end of every vlog, but work hard, part of it's connected to this book. And you could probably read this book in an afternoon, but it's called Of Beatles and Angels, A True Story of the American Dream. It simply says on the inside cover here, Maui fled war-torn Ethiopia at age 3. For the next 3 years, he lived with his family in a Sudanese refugee camp. He immigrated to the United States at age 7. Growing up, he overcame linguistic, cultural, and financial challenges and eventually earned a full tuition scholarship to Harvard University. It goes on. What this book taught me is hard work and sacrifice. And if you want to, you got to pick yourself up by your own bootstraps if you want success, and if you want, I'm just going to say, freedom. Okay, so I read this book in 2001, so I would have been eighth grade into freshman year of high school. All right, there you go. This one, of course, is going to be cliche because it's my story. All right, and It's just my story, and it connects to being a little bit slower in high school, but really realizing that, wow, I could walk on to a Division I cross-country team. I didn't even know it existed, everybody. Didn't even know that you could walk on in college, okay? So Running with the Buffaloes, of course, which I've talked about many times, but Chris Lear is the author, and I didn't even know, and I know it's so cliche, but I actually lived it. I tried to walk on my freshman year, failed, trained a year on my own, tried to walk on again my sophomore year, 2000, I guess it would have been 2005, and I made it, okay? So, perseverance, and this book again, it's so cliche, but it's because it actually happened in my life as to why I share that third book with all of you. Sorry, second book with all of you. Third book is, and I read Running with the Buffaloes in 2003, so I would have been a junior in high school, okay? And I thought I was going to walk on, but it just didn't happen. Crush It, all right? And this is where it connects to YouTube and being attempting to be an entrepreneur. But Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, all right? I don't know where the cover went, but that's okay. I read this book in 2011, 2012, and it just taught me the power of social media, of YouTube, of sharing your story, all right? And being passionate about whatever maybe it's crocheting, maybe it's how to make the best cakes in the world. Maybe it's how to take care of your car, like you're a mechanic and you want to, the ins and outs of being a mechanic, but you want to share why you're passionate about being a mechanic. Do it. Do it on social media. Do it so that the world can see like your passion. And I hope you're hearing my passion today. I just got fired up about this topic because the emails keep coming in, again, from everybody, but especially the youngsters out there that are wondering, Seth, how do you have 5 kids? How do you have a house? How do you have paid off cars? And listen, our cars are old. It's not like we're driving, Bentleys around here, but we're doing well, and it's because of, I just want to encourage read good books. Read books that are going to inspire you to seek out time and freedom in your life. So that's how I discovered running and financial freedom in my life, is that I read good books. I was inspired to work hard, to take risks, and honestly, every book, probably these two the most, but to take risks and to be patient and to not give up. And amazing things can happen when you do that, but it's it's not for everybody. I also want to put that piece in there, and that's where, of course, my favorite word, discerning your life, comes into play. You have to discern well because it's not for everybody. But good things can happen, and hopefully that helps. And again, as always, the good value today will be down in the comments, because doctors, I'm always throwing out doctors because I have a family member who's a doctor, but, engineers, artists, musicians, pastors, whatever the case may be, their book recommendations are going to bring you great value down below. Another book discussion right there. Seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.